There's no more $80,000 homes.
Yeah,
No, I know that.
Okay, we
This
are now
house is-
recording.
We ready?
Ready to roll?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm about to open the Board of Zoning Appeals Committee to take care of this variance business today. And it's on 109 Rollings Acre Lane, Blackstone, Virginia. Mr. Vornovic?
I'm gonna borrow your packet very quickly. Let Lindsay
Okay.
look for.
I had an extra one up there.
Did you? Did I cover it up?
And today is November 27th at 6 p.m.
Where's, if I tell you, it's no use for single phone?
no, it's not.
Did you leave one up there for us? Oh, you got one right there.
There's extras right here.
Practice her name.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Board of Zoning Appeals here tonight to consider a variance request from Rock River Homes. Rock River Homes is the current owner of record of a parcel of land located in Farmington subdivision, I think, Phase 2. Did I get that right? I think that's correct. And Rolling Acres Lane, which previously was Burroughs Lane. It's lot number 7A. It's addressed as 109 Rolling Acres Lane. Applicant had made application for a building permit and has come back, and here to discuss tonight is Jeff Lavelli. He's done some surveying, and Lindsay with Rock River Homes is also representing the owner. Current setback in the R1 district, or excuse me, in the RS district, is a 100-foot front setback, and the building lot line is where the width of the lot becomes 150 feet. Oh. Hello.
Hello.
So it's a 100-foot setback on a property that's 50 feet wide.
It's a 100-foot setback on any lot, but because this is a pie-shaped lot or a cul-de-sac lot, okay, the building lot width has to be 150 feet across. So it's where it hits actually 150. And this lot literally is 150 feet, so that's not applicable. It's just a 100-foot, the reason we're here tonight is a 100-foot front setback. A lot of lots are on 25-foot frontages on cul-de-sacs and that sort of thing, but 150 is where the building lot line, where the lot is 150 feet wide. That's not the matter tonight because that lot is compliant. The issue is 100 feet off the right-of-way is what the RS subdivision, RS suburban district calls for. Front setback of 100 feet from the right-of-way line. Every other lot has been fine, and this one has a particularly noticeable transmission power line in the rear of it. And the variance request is to move the house forward enough so that the back porch and any kind of accoutrements in the back aren't literally under the power line, because there is a power line easement there, and the request is to move the house up about 27 feet, closer to the cul-de-sac rather than the 100 feet that is being requested. Did I explain that good?
This wasn't so that wasn't knowledge of the buyer when they bought it?
Don't know. I don't know what their knowledge was. I do know and I rode up there with Michael and Ms. Scott, and it's pretty noticeable. The power line is there, man. It's a big boy, and it's a big transmission line. I don't know what their knowledge was when they bought it. I dare say Lindsay doesn't know, and Jeff may not know, but it's pretty hard to hide the power lines. They're pretty obvious.
So you're gonna buy something that you know is not gonna work for what you need based on the zoning ordinance.
Mhm.
That makes no sense.
But that is why, in a democratic process, we have a variance request ability. And
How much will this house sell for?
I don't know. If you would like, you want to open the public hearing? Formally open the public hearing? But if you have any questions, in addition to what I've explained, it's section 3.5 of the current zoning ordinance, and you can see that it's a 100-foot front setback. Jeff did the layout of the house and the stakeout of the house, and it's just really obvious to have any kind of a backyard. You're literally up under the power line. Okay? If you'd like to open the public hearing?
So I hereby open for the public. Anyone here to speak for?
I'll speak for the reason for we're moving the house forward. It's a recorded lot. It was bought as a recorded lot. The lot was approved.
That is correct.
It was recorded as an existing lot. They bought it as an existing lot. So that lot has a design challenge with that power line. The house could be built where it is, but it will have basically no backyard, no porch. You'll be right up on the power line easement and right up underneath of the power line. If you move the house forward, it does give it a little bit of a backyard. I don't know if you've been over there and looked at it, the house that's on lot 8 next to it, it's really not that much further in front of it. It doesn't affect the getting a house, you know, where they're, one's in front of the other. The way the cul-de-sac is and the way that house is, it kind of lines up with the house next door, even though it is forward a little bit more. Just the way the cul-de-sac works out right there.
That is a good point. Lindsay and her employer didn't subdivide the lot. They bought them as previously subdivided. A gentleman named Robert Burrows, and it may have been an LC of some sort that
Yeah, it
actually
was.
owned them. And then it was owned by Rigby Land Company in the interim, and then her employer actually got the lot.
It's not very familiar with Robert Burrows.
Yeah,
Robert
it was-
Burrows
it
and
was-
Field Green Mama Terry, and I think Bobby Wells, and there was a group of folks, a little before my time, and they had an incorporation or a group, and they actually subdivided the lots. Rigby Land Company bought it, and then subsequently,
And I think what transpired way back then is there wasn't gonna be a building permit issued till there was a bond put on the road, if I'm correct, and they didn't wanna front a bond to build the road. Rock River Homes was willing to front a bond to build the road if they could build some houses in there on some lots. Now, like, those are existing lots. It's a challenging lot. It's possible that if it's not approved, that they may not build the house, because it's gonna be a hard sell with no backyard. The request to move it forward, I think, there's a way to, I mean, that's what the variance process is for. It's for this reason. And going through the process, you know, it's up to y'all to make that decision, but that's what the variance is for things like this.
and the variance is described as a hardship, not universally or typically shared by adjoining properties. And if you notice with this one, the orientation's kind of weird because the house literally parallels the power lines. On the one adjacent, the other lot in the cul-de-sac, it sits more off to the right where it's not necessarily.
It's just the way the lots
parallel
lay
to
out
the
right there.
power lines.
It just affects that one lot.
So was this like a commercial property
No, ma'am,
first?
it's a residential
It was
property.
residential before they bought it? Okay.
It has been zoned residential since probably 1992 when it was incorporated into the town. It was in the county. And 1992, that and much of that neighborhood, Eppington Forest, was brought inside the town limits as part of a boundary adjustment that was done. And these lots were divided probably in the early 2000s, mid-2000s. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so, yes.
And, they never moved forward. After I got here, they had already, the developers, Mr. Burrows had already laid the water and sewer lines, but the road had not been constructed. So there was some discussion about, Bob, in order for me to give you building permits in here, you gotta put a bond on the road. And he said, I'm not gonna do that. I said, well, subdivision ordinance says you gotta put it up because the road belongs to the town until such time as it's taken into the system. And they didn't file a subdivision plat. Subdivision plat had been recorded by Bob Burrows many, many years previous. So Rock River did put up a bond. They did quite a bit of work on the road. If you've been down there, the road's not bad. There may be some culverts, may need to be upgraded or something, drainage stuff, but for the most part, the road is done. And, they have a bond with the town to ensure that the road be completed.
How much will this house go for roughly? You have no idea?
I'm just gonna throw a number out.
Yeah.
I don't know,
No, just,
but
just-
I'd say 400,000.
good lord.
I'd say, you know,
I kinda have a problem with houses so close to power lines.
But it's someone's choice, if that's what they wanna buy.
It just doesn't sound like a good idea or very safe to me.
you know, the issue
Maybe
becomes,
I'm just being naive here.
the issue becomes this, if not allowed to move the house forward, A, they may not build it,
Right,
or B, if they do build it, it may be a rental property. And that's not what they wanna do. They wanna build a house that they're selling to, you know,
right,
an individual. And it's, leaving it where it is, where the building setbacks require it to be, is gonna make it a tough sell. It's gonna
One
make it
other
a tough
thing
sell.
that I must add, I'm not sure of any covenants that have been recorded in the subdivision. Are you aware of any?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of any covenants, meaning minimum house sizes and that sort of thing.
right.
So, there is no minimum or maximum house size. In any district in Blackstone, by our ordinances, those houses would, size-wise, would only be governed by private covenant. And I'm not aware of any covenants. Well, in the subdivision, I should say.
Right,
I've never seen any.
And that is kinda like, you know, that's like the last section of Blackstone. It's really, you know, that's kinda like a premier area over there. I mean,
right.
it's nice neighborhood.
But 400,000 is a chunk of change, maybe not for Richmond, but who would wanna be so near that power line? I don't know.
If they can move it forward, I promise you they will sell it.
They're building one in Beach Cliff, I think I carried you guys down there, to that other segment, that's near the power line. Has more trees, this lot doesn't have
Right.
trees, and, maybe that's the difference. And then the house right adjacent sold relatively quickly, did it not? And,
And that's
then
near the
when we
power
pulled up
line.
in there on the
Yeah,
right-hand
yeah.
side, that
Yeah.
sold pretty quick and hit the power lines there, but it has a different orientation, so
Right,
you're not
right.
walking out your back door.
Right,
It-
right.
It's a design, that lot has some challenges. It's got a design challenge, and the design challenges the power line.
Right,
And if you can't move it forward, then it makes it a tough sell, possibly
Right.
not a build. Any questions?
y'all have any questions?
No, I looked at it, I went out there, and I was like, that was the first thing that I saw. Then as Philip and I walked back, then I saw the power line where they had cleared it off. Personally, now how large is that backyard, hypothetically, if it's approved and it's moved forward? How deep is that backyard is going to be?
It should be, I'm guessing here, because I don't have a scale,
Right.
it's an inch to 40.
So if
So just to the power line itself, it's 40 feet from the back of the house, to the
That's
easement,
right away,
to the easement.
to the easement.
Yes.
Okay.
Which,
Not-
the
not
house
to
has to be
power
out
line,
of that easement,
But the 100-foot right of way that they own.
So their backyard will not be underneath that line.
no, nor will it be in that easement. Well, their yard will be into the easement,
Right.
but there's 40 foot that's not underneath that power line.
So you could put a play
Yeah,
back
you'd have
there.
a place
Yeah,
that kids are
okay.
gonna play or something, and not be underneath the power
Are they
line.
gonna put up a fence and stuff when they build the house?
I don't know.
And what's happening
see
with,
why.
Owners could choose to.
I don't know that they would. I mean, they might, but
Nothing behind them, so.
so you're gonna move forward
27 feet.
27 feet, that's gonna leave what on the road, on the
about 70-some feet off the
70
road.
foot?
33 feet from the right of way, that's
From the
not
right
the
of way.
pavement.
Okay,
It's still, you know, you got 25 feet from the
Okay.
edge of the right of way to the, well, you probably don't have 25 feet. You got a good 15 feet from the edge of the right of way to the edge of the pavement.
The right of way edge is where the sewer cleanout is, and I assume it is.
It's about 15 feet or so.
You wanna close the public hearing? You
Well-
like to speak?
it just seems a little junky to me.
I don't know
It's
that
just,
has anything to say.
I don't know, like junky, a little close in.
Well, I mean, the thing is, and so the question that comes to my mind is beautiful home, a lot of money being invested, moving it forward would make it more appealing and advertising to whoever would purchase it. What are the health risks? Have we looked at that of somebody that would live that close to a power line, that would have kids?
you know, I don't know of any health risk. I'm with you on that. I would not want to live right there.
And so, and that becomes my concern. So if it's something that we personally wouldn't want to do, and so just looking it up, it says that it's a higher risk of a child having leukemia.
Do we know that?
And I looked it
That's
up.
what it says in the,
That's
we
when
know
you
that?
look at, I don't know.
Right.
But
We
and
have to
that's what
also
I'm saying. I mean, and it could happen even not living close to a power line, but then that becomes my concern. Are we putting someone at risk because they're seeing this beautiful home and then they buy it and they have kids and then they're not really aware of? And I know that's not our concern.
That's not our
concern is either
project,
to,
right?
you know, approve it or not approve it. But at the end of the day,
Well, if it's any consolation, you're getting farther from the power line, so maybe it's healthier to move it forward.
My only concern is I don't wanna start building homes all over Nottaway County that are next to power lines.
Again, not really our bailiwick.
The problem is, it's an approved lot.
Right,
Not only did Nottaway County approve, but the
Right.
town of Blackstone approved.
It's actually got a building permit already issued for it.
So, you know, it's a buildable lot. We're just asking for a variance to make it a better lot.
right.
well, the other
As far
question,
as building houses up against power lines, you know, prime example, you can go right over there in Chesterfield County in the Burkdale neighborhood. And back in the late eighties, early nineties, they built a house under the power line. And it
Yeah,
was
that's what we
there
don't want.
for 5 years before somebody realized it was in an easement for the power line.
Oh gee,
This is not the case.
And it is,
Yeah, yeah.
it's another case, but this happens.
right,
You know, it's land. If people want to develop it, they're going to develop it.
right.
well, the only other question that I have, I wasn't real sure when I was looking, but, so you can make the lot more buildable, more appealing by moving it forward, but is that lot going to be, once the house is there, is it gonna be self-contained? Is that lot and that house gonna be that lot and that house? Or are you gonna have, how are you gonna get to power lines? How are you gonna get to, like, if there's an emergency? What's the access, or somebody coming across that property? You know what I'm saying?
Right, there's a power line easement, and then at a 90-degree angle, College Road, which is a
Okay.
public road,
Yeah.
crosses that.
Yeah.
So they could use College as a public street if the power line went down or they needed to
And
access
that's
it.
what they have to do.
Either that or they can come from Route 40
Okay,
and at the shopping center and come up.
Yeah.
This same power lines that run below Walmart, and they could come in. They've got a right of way. All they need to do is access it from a public right of way, or someone they have permission from
Yeah.
privately.
yeah.
But no, there wouldn't need to be any easement access
Yes.
easement
Mm-hmm.
granted with the property.
Yeah.
Do you have any more to say for this project?
Unless y'all have questions.
Okay, anybody have any other questions? So I hereby close the public hearing. Is there anyone present to speak against this project? Going once, going twice. So I hereby close that part of the hearing. So, now I am open for a motion on this variance of moving that house 73 feet forward,
27 feet
20
forward.
Okay.
27 feet.
26 and a half feet, actually, is the correct
26
and a half feet
and a
forward.
half feet forward. Anyone want to put that in a motion?
What was the motion? I'm sorry.
I ask that, is anybody in agreement of moving this house forward or granting the variance to move this house forward 26 and a half feet?
this, or?
You gotta make a motion
Yeah,
first.
we gotta
and a
make a
second.
motion. I'm thinking.
Well,
Well, the floor is open for a motion.
well, I'm gonna vote a certain way, so I don't know whether to make the motion or not.
The motion has to be made,
Yes.
and then you vote.
Okay.
Gotta be a
After
motion
the
of some
motion.
kind.
You can motion and second, and then that opens the floor for
Yeah.
discussion, and then you can vote.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion. Vote on this. How do you say it?
In a second,
Second.
so that you can open the
I
floor for
second.
discussion.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you're open for
Been
discussion.
moved and probably second.
If this is cricket, I would like to hear my fellow board members' opinions on this. Because it's been pointed out that this is a strange lot, and I understand that. But I'm not so sure if I want these developers coming in and taking these lots and making a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You understand what I'm saying? Because builders can do anything. They can turn anything into something. And that kind of bothers me a little bit.
I think we need to stay to the purview. These folks didn't come to have
Yeah, I understand.
opinions of their professional lives
I understand.
stated. They came here to ask you to move a house up 26 feet, which makes
Yeah.
imminent sense.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame to make a decision based on a personal preference
Right.
rather than a factual decision. We're here for a factual decision tonight. Now, the time when someone brings a raw piece of land to the
Right.
town and says, we want to subdivide this property, that's when that opinion is right on. Okay? That's when the right time to say, I don't think the town's ready for 82 lots, 95 lots, 100 lots, or whatever that is. This was divided 20 years ago. And the simple request is just move the house up. You're going to have ample opportunity, either the Board of Supervisors, or excuse me, the Town Council or the Planning Commission are going to have ample opportunity to say, and you as a citizen come speak at the public hearing, I don't agree that the town should allow more houses. I don't think developers have a place in Blackstone.
No, because we'll look like Hall Street.
Perhaps that's an opinion, but an opinion and facts are two different things. We're here for, and BZA has a narrow focus, and a focus that is, yes, it's appropriate to move it up away from the power lines because it meets the standards associated with variance or not. Not whether you like developers. I know you don't. You've told me, hey, we don't want that, we don't want this, we don't want this growth. And I get that part, but I don't think it's time for us to have that discussion. I think that discussion comes at the planning commission level, and you as a citizen gets in and says, I don't approve this subdivision, because subdivisions in Blackstone have to be approved by planning commission. Can't say have to be approved by planning commission, they have to go through planning commission, and they can make a recommendation to town council. But subdivisions are approved after a public hearing. Okay.
So, in my personal opinion,
So let's take the personal opinion out, let's stick to the facts.
okay. Fact is, I would agree with allowing this contracting company to move this property forward to 26 and a half feet. Because they have moved it from under the power lines physically. Give them maybe a little bit more, a little larger backyard. But the house itself, the dwelling, is not directly underneath the power line. And I'm in agreement with his request.
As Robert's Rules of Order would say, call for the question.
Okay, and any more questions, comments?
Anybody have any comments?
Yeah, I do. Well, not a comment, I just need Philip, I'm looking at this and thinking about it, I know the area. Run it by me one more time, what the measurements are gonna be. Moving it 26 and a half feet forward,
Yes.
it's gonna make the backyard right here.
Otherwise, the house would be where your finger is. It'd be right here at the power line right away. So they're moving it farther from the power line, closer to the street.
This is,
Yep, that's the house.
okay,
And they're moving it this way.
so
Which is-
then this is 40 feet here?
I think it's.
Before you get to the
It's about
east?
an inch, it's an inch to 40s, and it measures about an inch.
I don't have a scale with me, but if you figure that's 73 feet, and you figure, about 40.
Oh, so it still is an easement, but,
Yeah, we're moving
it's-
forward away from the power line.
yeah. And then, so on the street side,
I'll give you a good
Okay.
example.
yeah,
Good example. A request like this, okay, probably 75% of the houses in the older part of town would
Isn't it
require about 75% of houses and lots in this older part of town where you live.
Right.
Yeah, not so much you, because you're not quite in that West Blackstone plat. But 75% of the homes in Blackstone, in the older parts of Blackstone, wouldn't qualify in today's standards. You couldn't build them again.
Wow,
I would
I'm
say
not
it's at least
surprised.
70 because of the
Yeah.
setbacks.
Yeah,
And they're not far enough off the street and that sort of thing. So they're all technically considered non-conforming lots.
okay.
Okay. Rules change over time. In 1894, when West Blackstone was platted, is that right? 1894?
Yeah, 1890.
They sold 25-foot lots. I don't know what you do with a 25-foot lot nowadays.
That's how
They
they
were
sold.
selling them 25 feet at a time.
Wow.
That's just the thing. And this is another one of these where we don't want it to be a non-conforming. Because the sophistication nowadays, and I'm very supportive of this, and I've done this a million times, but in today's world, when you buy a home, typically you have to get title insurance.
You have to get what?
Title
Title.
insurance.
Title
Oh.
insurance.
And the last thing we wanna do is have a house outside of that 100 feet, because it could be picked up on an exception, a plat exception on a title insurance policy, and that makes financing very, very difficult.
Oh.
So we're trying to be legal.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff even called me and said, do we even need, I said, man, I just don't see anything in the ordinances that gives us room. I think this is a BZA variance. It's the most logical one you guys have probably seen, because it has that hardship. It meets the definition.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that it is pretty much lined up with the other houses through there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
little
the only
bit
difference
forward,
between
yeah.
this one and the others that make it a little, because the last house that was built on this adjacent lot didn't request a variance, but it's oriented differently.
Mm-hmm.
You don't walk out your back door and look at power lines, you're looking at oak trees.
Yeah.
This one is just a vacant lot, and man, you walk out and you can see it's parallel to it. Of any request that we've had, this is probably the most cleanly variance eligible, because it's a hardship not commonly shared by other property.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Now, and when they walk out the front door, how far away from the road are they?
From the pavement or the right of way? They're probably gonna be about 80 or 90 feet from the pavement
Pavement.
still, at 73 feet.
Okay,
Because it just said, the pavement is not at the extent of the right of way,
yeah,
okay?
okay, I
That is
thought I
the
was
right
reading
of way,
that.
the pavement probably is 15 feet
10,
off the edge of
15.
that. So you'll still have 73 feet and approximately 15 feet. And I say that because there's a sewer clean out, which additionally is at the property line. And go out there and
Okay,
survey
that's what I
later on
wasn't
or
understanding.
measure it. But a sewer clean out, and there's one probably sticking out of the ground 2 or 3 feet, like a green pipe out there. And that's the sewer clean out. Okay, that'll attach to the house and it'll be ultimately cut off flush with the ground. There'll be a cap put on top. It's an access point to clean the sewer line. So I would say you're still gonna have about 90 feet, maybe 88 feet,
Okay,
from the house to the pavement in the cul-de-sac. Okay?
okay.
Okay, so we had a motion.
And I would
Have a
also add real quick, the subdivision that we have here, these lots are over an acre. Okay? These lots were subdivided, but in reality, they could be half acre. And what the arrangement was with Mr. Burrows and the town, I don't know, I don't remember,
I kind of remember it.
but that's over an acre lot. In fact, it is, goggles on,
1.01.
1.01.
Yeah.
So these are bigger lots than would traditionally be required in that residential suburban district. And I'll show it.
So there's a motion on the floor. Just going through the comments and questions. And are we ready for a vote?
Would y'all prefer to do a roll call where everybody says singly or all together? Which is gonna make you more comfortable,
Roll call
So
sounds
we're
good.
gonna have a roll call vote.
okay? Aye or nay?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
That's
Thank you.
So it did pass
3-2.
Okay.
So,
We've got a couple of other matters.
Hang on one second, can I get my minutes approved?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Okay. So I sent last week the, minutes from August 28, 2023, and
I'll call you back and
Congratulations.
say over on Dillon Street.
if I could get a
I'll
motion
come to
to,
you. Won't be
approve
around
these
tomorrow.
minutes
But I'll catch up with
from
you.
August
Friday.
28, 2023.
She wanted to do the title work first.
So moved.
Motion to approve,
Make a motion to approve the August minutes.
you do.
For $300 on
Can I
the
get a
Second. A second.
We'll see you, Philip.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion
Next
carried.
meeting, we have an application for a BZA variance. Very similar to the 50-foot lots, but this is a 55-foot lot. It's a gentleman would like to build a home on South Main Street. It's a 55-foot lot, it is what it is, and it was subdivided many, many years ago. It's on, fairly close to where you live, between 5th and 6th Streets in South Main. 55-foot lot, and the gentleman would like to build a home
You
On
said
that
on
lot?
Main Street?
on Main Street,
South
South Main
Main.
Street. And the gentleman would like to build a home, a two-story home, very similar to what's in the neighborhood. And he would like to, and he's offering the full setbacks, the 12-foot setback, which would be the equivalent if it were an 80-foot lot, because a new subdivided lot in that district would be 80 feet wide. He's only got 55, but he's still offering us 15% of the frontage. 15% of the frontage of an 80-foot lot is 12 feet. So he's offering 80-foot side setbacks, but he's only got 55 feet, that's all it is. And the BZA had mentioned at one point several years ago that they wanted to consider those requests, and so there's another one to come,
That's not that house that they're working on now. are they?
across the street.
Across the street, okay. That big corner lot. No?
It's in between the White House where they've been painting, they've got about halfway up the house,
Okay.
Wolf, and Antonia Herring, which is the old Santa Claus house. If you guys remember Santa Claus, he used to live there, a guy with a big beard, in the greenhouse, in between.
Okay.
55-foot lot, and it just is what it is. It's an old historic lot that was divided many, many years ago, and,
So when they build on Main Street, are there any conditions on the types of houses and stuff? No, they can build whatever they want,
as long as,
in terms of appearance.
none of appearance, there's not
They can't put a mobile home on Main Street.
that's what I'm gonna say, as far as appearance,
Right,
no, but construction standard, yes, you can't put a single or double wide
right,
on Main Street. When I say that, we call them manufactured homes, they're not
Right.
trailers anymore, they're single wide or double wide manufactured homes. There was a double wide manufactured home placed on North Main Street next to the old LV Harris shop, but she went through a conditional use permit to make the request to put that there. If you guys, Ms. Epps, you know, one,
Okay.
she just got her new double wide manufactured home put up over there, but she went through the proper channels, planning commission, town council.
so this is what we have to vote on the 19th, right?
Right, so he'll have to put an ad in the paper.
Okay.
We'll advertise for 2 weeks, and then the soonest we could meet is December 19th, if that suits y'all on a Tuesday at 6 p.m.
In fact, I think they're offering a 16-foot side setback, but we'll have that all resolved, but it's just because it's a, well, narrow lot.
And
What-
it's somebody
what's the
who's gonna
address
build
of
a
it?
house and live there, or it's
No,
another
I think they'll
developer?
try to sell it.
That's not, so it'll be it won't be a rental.
I don't think it's gonna be, but I can't swear to that. I'd have to get them to swear to that. I don't
I
wanna
just
speak
feel
on
like
behalf of
there's too
somebody
many
else.
eggs
I'm
on
not
one
100%
property.
sure.
agree.
Too much rental properties popping up around, and not enough people actually own their own.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Philosophy, I agree with. That's why the town of Blackstone builds homes for people to own on West Broad Street. We believe the same type of things, but
Rentals
consider ourselves
destroy a
building
neighborhood.
What?
I said rentals just really destroy a neighborhood. They really can, you know,
I know, I
or
agree.
just lock it and never improves, you know.
My big
but you know
fear's
how
got,
many Airbnbs are in this town?
Yeah, a lot.
Is it a lot?
Absolutely
Yes.
no idea.
You would never know.
no,
Yeah, but you
There's
don't know.
Airbnbs throughout town.
Yeah, I know.
all I can say is heaven help us if FAFC pulls out with all this housing going
All
up.
the rental properties.
You know, you never know with the federal government.
Would be great.
It would be great.
Yeah, plan B. We always have a plan B.
Oh, good. All right,
Gotta be on top of it.
well,
The 19th of December, I think is when Jennifer.
Yes,
I'll put it on my
Tuesday.
calendar.
With everybody. She may have already.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
she
send out
talked
an email,
about
or
that.
should I just put it in my phone?
Yeah,
I'll
just
send
if you can,
Jennifer's good.
And we're still good at 6 o'clock? You guys are happy
Yeah,
at 6
yeah,
o'clock?
yeah.
yeah. well, you're gonna send out an email soon. I just wanna see that lot early. I didn't see this one until
I'm
kinda,
happy
yeah.
to take you guys out.
Yeah.
If you wanna
Okay.
go. Ms. Scott and
We got the
Michael
house
did ask me to
underneath.
carry him down there and I showed him.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
always ask Philip to, cause
Yeah.
I don't know the town that well.
yeah.
Nobody forced them to buy the property. and put it in the
Yeah, that was kinda my thing, but,
Right, and then, it's not, this board's job to make a property appealing for them to sell. And so that's a bad selling
still
point to throw at me too.
Pardon?
I said, so that's a bad selling point for them to throw at me too, I just don't, that's their job to make it appealing to sell,
We're
not
still
ours.
recording.
yeah. And also, I understand that, you know, it was approved years ago, but years have changed, and so you can't always say, well, this was years ago. So I wanna be real careful of that. I do know that area, we actually own some property not too far from there. And I do know that area, but I'm kinda like of the opinion of you, it isn't our job, you cannot buy something knowing that it might not be kosher, and then we make it okay.
Just
So I wanna avoid
Expect the
avoid that.
local authorities to make it kosher for
Yeah.
them. Right.
And so, yeah, I that was my thing, but I don't see in that area, I was trying to think and fast forward in the future what problems could come up if we did approve it, but, and I'm okay, kinda okay with approving it. It could've gone either way for me, but, yeah.
Philosophically, let me ask you a question. Is it the intention of the citizenry of Blackstone, not you guys, but your representatives and citizens,
Yeah,
to use these infill lots in Blackstone that are scattered around town?
everywhere.
Is that not a good thing?
I mean, not necessarily, I mean, like,
Really?
let's just put a building and pavement on every square inch that we can possibly put. I mean, that's one of the things I like about Blackstone, is that it's got, in town, we've got trees and like little sections of woods, and it feels like a nice, small
But
rural
again,
town.
75% of our homes in Blackstone don't meet code. I can tell you yours is very close to Miss Orange's house.
Don't meet today's code, but they
It
made
does
code
not
when
meet
they were
today's
built.
code.
Yeah.
They
Where
made
you
code when
live.
they were built.
Yeah, it's, oh my goodness, I can almost reach
They
out and
made
touch
code
it.
when they were built though,
Yours is probably
so.
But see,
not
that,
one that meets code because you've got God's a setback. I'm not sure where you live.
I live on
You live
Summer
near
Street.
me.
7th Street. I am trying to promote, and I'll be honest with you, especially infill lots, not so much new subdivision, because there's a lot of road cost and, you know, utilities and all that, and we'll see how that
Yeah.
stuff goes. But man, we're trying to fill in these infill lots, especially tearing down old houses like the one on Oak Street that we got torn down. Okay?
No, I suppose the town
And
is,
put a
because
new one
that's
back
more,
and trying to do
that's
those
more
kind of
taxes
things.
the town can collect from somebody.
but
Somebody's living there.
I do wanna see
But
things,
I'm not on the town council, and I don't work for the town, so that's not my issue.
yeah, but I do wanna see home ownership, rather, you
Me
know,
too. Me
that,
too.
Try.
that's,
But I'll
it's
tell you what
tricky.
is making that, drives that economic decision is the price of the home. The price of the home, the encouragement for bigger, more square feet, makes it less likely it's gonna be rented.
Yeah, yeah,
But in the same vein, across from UMac, $1,650 a month for
Are those rentals?
all rentals.
All rentals.
Every one of them.
Yep.
yeah,
That is
Still
his
building,
business plan is rental.
still
Whose
building.
business plan?
Dennis Rapp owns them.
Oh.
Well, the company is
Yeah.
Bentayga Corporation.
Okay.
I think he's been, or representatives of his have been in front of this body before.
Yes.
But there's a lot of building going on in Blackstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge demand for homes like those and the rentals. I talked to Lindsay, she said, it's a little slow in Blackstone, selling homes,
Right.
slower than we would like it. But what we're trying to do, and you guys helped us by making those lots a little smaller over there on Broad Street. You guys voted twice. One to split the lot in half so we could have a second place.
But
to
that
build.
was
Yeah.
for the
Some
low
affordable
income.
housing.
Yeah.
That
So
was,
we
that
built a
was specifically for that.
$230,000 house.
When you use the word hardship, that means something different to me.
Hardship is
So-
not commonly shared by every other lot.
So,
So if every other lot is 50 feet,
we're putting up a home for people that need a home versus putting up a $400,000 house. To
But
me, that's
that's-
two different issues.
but that's using up those infill lots is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to you. Making vacant lots that haven't haven't done anything for the town of Blackstone in years, other than Jennifer's got some letters to cut grass.
Collect trash,
Stuff like
yeah.
that. They're actually generating money. And I can tell you, a lot of things are more expensive than they used to be, man. They, you know,
We
fire
know.
trucks. We just bought a $2 million fire truck, $2 million, with all the accoutrements on it. $2 million bucks. That's a lot of fire truck, man.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough that we had a good congressperson at the time, and we worked like the devil, and we got half of a grant. We still gotta finance $520,000.
Yikes.
But you know, the
So we
price,
gotta pay for that stuff.
Right.
And we pay for it when we sell electricity, water, sewer, taxes.
Right.
That's the business we're in.
So we
the price for this house, he said around 400,000. That's kind of what tipped it over for me, is that it was a higher price house.
I
I
don't think you
figure,
can rent
yeah,
a $400,000 home easily. And a good way to look at what you need to charge in rent is what you pay for.
yes.
I used
Yeah.
to buy these old houses and stuff out here in the country and rent them out. If I bought it for $70,000, to break even, I needed to get $700.
$700,
Roughly. $4,000 a month is a lot of rent.
Yeah.
On
A lot.
$40,000 house.
No
It's
kidding.
mighty tough to cover. Now, some
Yeah.
people may buy it and say, hey, I gotta move, or I'm with Fast C and I get transferred.
Right.
And I don't wanna sell my home, I rent it, and they may be able to do it, but, end result is, a $400,000 house is mighty tough to rent.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, because of that price, it's not gonna bring the area down. You're gonna have to have somebody in there who can
Right,
afford
right.
it and,
Which
you
is
know,
good.
which is a good thing. So for that area, yeah, I could see that.
And I'll tell you, we can focus on those neighborhoods, but they're easy to focus on. The $400,000 houses. If we don't focus on West End, Fall Street, East End, we will have done a disservice to the town if we ignore those parts of town, because it's supposed to be 12 feet on the setback, and they can only offer 11. That's a disservice. Look at that new home that was just built on Second Street. I don't know if y'all been down there. Right directly across the street from Carolyn Williams. That vacant lot
Yeah.
has sat there since
It's-
I was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
recent college graduate.
With them steps
And then
sitting right
we'll
there.
get those things out of there. Somebody,
Yeah.
they had old concrete
Yeah.
steps and they just left them by the side of the road and we got to figure it out. But those are the kind of projects we want to encourage. But we
Yeah.
can't just do variances in low-income neighborhoods, moderate-income neighborhoods, and not in wealthy neighborhoods. Fair application.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank y'all
Yeah.
for your time. I appreciate y'all
Yes.
coming in.
Since we have no other business coming for the committee, I hereby close the Board of Zoning.
43%. Y'all,
Yes, that's good.
thank you very much.
Well, I feel like I have